notice of anything about a liquor license here until we got official notice in the mail. The owner, I'm not sure where he got all his support from. I'm assuming he got it from the base of people that regularly attend the store. I'm not a regular attendee of the store, but we live around the corner from it, and we never heard anything. We didn't get a flyer, and we talked to people around us, and they had the same concerns that we have. I don't know if he lives in the area. I don't know if he lives around the corner from the store, but when there was liquor there before, and I'm not saying that he's trying to create problems, but there are problems that come with liquor when you drop it in the middle of basically residential area next to a daycare center, around the corner from people that work every day and try to keep their property up. You have more trash. You have people circling back around in the park drinking liquor. You have people that you're not familiar with, unfamiliar faces, taking a shortcut through there because they've all heard that there's liquor right there at that store. There's liquor all around. There's liquor on Western, there's liquor on Lincoln Highway. You have another liquor license where you're saying there's going to be a mini casino and liquor in the middle of downtown Park Forest. We've dealt with that before. I personally, and neighbors that I've talked to, like I said, I don't know what the base of people was that he talked to, but it didn't include the people right around the corner from the store. He didn't send out a flyer to us. He didn't come ring the doorbell and say, what do you think about liquor at my store? We didn't get that from him. And I have more concerns about it than I do support for it. I don't see the need for it. He looks like his business is thriving, so why create those issues that I described in the middle of a residential area for us? Those are my basic comments.
Thank you. Please, we don't allow outbursts from the crowd during public meetings.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, as well as to the trustees. I just wanted to say thank you for the 4th of July festivities. As a resident of Park Forest for over 15 years, I've always attended, no matter what's going on in the other areas. I always make sure that my family, that we are here on the 4th of July to take part in the festivities. So thank you to the board and to all those that may have been involved in making it such a successful event. We enjoyed it as well. As my previous neighbor expressed her concerns, I was at the last meeting as well, and I stand here before you again just to let you know that, as she stated before, those are still my concerns as well. I was surprised that there was so many names listed on the petition. I too am concerned as to where those names came from, because we weren't informed or were even aware that there was a petition. But again, too, I am not a regular supporter or shopper at the Quickie Mart, so perhaps he did have a petition in the store for his for customers that come in. But again, I stand before you in disagreement or opposing that license being supported by that facility. Thank you.
Thank you.
Antoinette Barnett. I live at 310 Illinois Street. I was here before, right across the street from the Quick Mart. I don't know where these names came from because no one came to our house. The only information I got was through the village when they sent out about the letters. I don't want to see that in a residential area. We've had a car stolen since it's been there. The police came looking for a gun in my backyard when they robbed the place. That has no place in a residential area. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Theodore Johnson. I'm a resident of Park Forest, I live at 220 Berry Street. I wasn't notified about a petition. The only way I was notified was by the letter from the village. My major concern is the children of our neighborhoods. I don't want the liquor store. We don't want the liquor store. I have small children that are able to play freely up and down the sidewalk on Berry Street. Every morning I get up and walk my dog throughout the community. I keep an eye on the community. And we don't need a liquor store. And no disrespect to the owner, but we don't want it. You got liquor all up and down Western Avenue. You got liquor all up on Lincoln Highway. You can go to the grocery store and get liquor. One less liquor store is not gonna hurt us. We don't want it over in our neighborhood. Thank you.
My name is Sue Brazali. I'm on New Salem Street in East Lincolnwood. I support everything that my neighbors said about the store. I want to add my concern about the schools, the Montessori school and Illinois school being in the area, and a liquor store. Their hours of operation will be when students are in and out of the schools. Parents are picking up their children, especially at the nursery next door. And the petition, be interesting to know where it was distributed, how it was distributed. One comment I want to say, Mr. Vanderbilt, the robotics tournament was really great. My husband and I went, and it's something that the schools have needed for a long time, and we're really pleased. And I think it will have a good impact on Park Forest. Thank you.
My name is Greg Allen. I live at 267 Ridge Road, and I have two comments in regard to the liquor, liquor license. One is that in Chicago, they quit selling spray paint, so you can't buy spray paint in Chicago. And I was surprised to find that out, but the reason they did that was because there was so much tagging, quote unquote, on the buildings. Since they quit selling spray paint, tagging's been reduced tremendously. And it's hard to go hardly in some of the south side neighborhoods and see something tagged. And it's because they no longer allow, selling the spray paint. But my point is that, with the liquor license and more liquor stores, liquor, when people get drunk, it really does cause problems. And most times they're not going there to be social drinkers. So, I'm opposed to the liquor license, for that reason. And, on 4th of July, which was a great day, but my neighbor, I won't say which one, but yeah, I didn't have a problem with him drinking or, the friends drinking or the fireworks at all. The problem was when, his friends got drunk and started, coming over on the lawn, and the extension from the downspout, they wound up, crushing that, so I had to replace it. It's no big thing, but it's really the idea of what liquor can do to a neighborhood. So, those are pretty much, one other comment. The other one was in regard to the petition. A lot of times petitions are put out, and when they're put out and distributed, sometimes if there are people who have negative comments or negative thoughts, all you're really getting are petitions that say yes. So every petition you get is saying yes, 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 yes. If they're going to put a petition out, maybe they should have one box for yes and another box for no. So you'll get a real true idea of how many people are really opposed to the idea versus all those who are in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mayor and trustees. You heard from my mother and some of my neighbors. My comment was, I was kind of wondering with the 17 pages, if our neighbors, if we put a petition, what would be the potential goal for how many people would not support having a liquor license? And it was also kind of funny with my other neighbor talking about the tagging and spray paint. On my fence right now, we got graffiti from, I guess, people walking past, going presumably to the Quick Mart. But for the first goal, the first comment is 17 pages. I'm guessing 20 names per page, or so that if we sign a petition, what is the outcome we try to get?
But there is no update.
Okay.
That's the bottom line. The fact of the matter is, the board has been entrusted with the responsibility of making decisions on behalf of the community. The board weighs the input of members of the community. Sometimes that comes in the form of people coming to meetings and speaking. Sometimes it comes in the form of letters or telephone calls that we receive. Sometimes it comes in the form of petitions that are circulated. And we weigh all of that, along with whatever the attorney tells us in terms of what our legal, parameters are, how far we can go in making decisions. All of that goes into the decision, but there is no one element that if we get 50 names or something that, everything is weighed based upon, the input that comes from the community.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time.
You're quite welcome. Thank you all very much for coming. We appreciate it. And so often we sit here on Monday nights and we're all alone. It's so nice to see residents come out and voice their opinion. I think the board will give careful thought to what all of you have said. I have been liquor commissioner now for 18 years. I think anybody who knows me knows, number one, I'm not a drinker. May have been a long time ago in my past, which may be why I'm not a drinker now, but I'm not a drinker, so I have no love for alcohol necessarily. I actually, have had family members who have been killed as a result of drunken drivers, so I really am very sympathetic to the notion of how well we curtail alcohol. As liquor commissioner, when we have had liquor establishments that have violated our code of ordinance, by selling to minors or doing things of that sort, I've been very stringent on them in terms of fines and revocation of the license. And at this particular location, the previous owner, 2 owners back, when they were allowed to sell alcohol, they abused that privilege extensively by a number of things, not the least of which was the fact that they were actually selling stolen liquor at one point. They were selling cigarettes that were stolen at one point. They were selling individual shooters and small bottles that people would take out and drink in the parking lot and then dispose of. Those are all things that were very concerned to us and was part of the reason why when initially that owner left and actually we had revoked his license. In the state of Illinois, the Illinois Liquor Commission had upheld my ruling on that and in revoking that license. Unfortunately, he went to the circuit court, and the circuit court put that license back in place. And so that's why we have to turn to the attorney and also ask questions, because no matter what it is that may be our personal feelings about things, we have to also understand that, Village of Park Forest is not in a position of where we necessarily want to undergo an extensive lawsuit over something. So we have to weigh all of the matters very carefully. We will do that in the time going forward before we make a decision next week. But we certainly appreciate all of the opinion of members of the neighborhood. I do want to say, though, that in the event that the board decides to grant this license, number one, it will be no more than 15% of the square footage of the facility that can in fact house the liquor. That means it's a very small contained area. Number two, what the owner has told us is that he intends to sell only beer and wine. Now, we haven't got any particulars on how we would enforce that necessarily, but that's what he said to us during the liquor hearing. Number three, in the event that it is granted, we certainly have some very strict standards that would have to be respected in terms of the parking lot and things of that sort. Now, I say that just so that you understand that those are things that we've looked at already, but the decision will have to be made next week by the board at the regular board meeting. So again, thank you all very much for your input. We really appreciate it.